I wanted to be, I have a, like, I guess an update. Excuse the way I look. I got drowned this morning taking my daughter Batoon from school. We finally got some good rain and I'm drowned. Anyways, so for all of you that did the Jelly Roll Twirl pattern this weekend with me, I wanted to let you know. I ended up throwing away, you know, when you're putting your little background on your squares and rectangles, well, I threw all mine away. Well, I started thinking, you know what? I'm going to get those back out and see. I'm able to get 2.5-inch half square triangles. So it does have a little corner, which I think adds a cool little touch to it of the fabric. But I dug all mine back out. As you can see. Let me show you. I dug them all back out and I started sewing. And I did a very good scant 1/4 inch. And I was able to get 2.5-inch square triangles out of this. Now, what I'm thinking is I have plenty of background. So what I'm kind of thinking of is maybe doing a little 4-patch, border around my quilt. I've got 2 rows sewn. I've got to get the rest of them together. My head's hurting pretty bad this morning. I took some medicine and it's like come back full force. I don't know what's going on. So I think it's my neck. But I wanted to let y'all know, don't throw, if you don't want to, you can actually get 2, depending on how much you cut, 2 to 2.5-inch square triangles out of this. And I thought about maybe, if anything too, maybe pinwheel blocks. I may try to do pinwheels. I'm going to try to, I may just kind of, a pinwheel block would actually be really, really cute. Instead of doing 4-patch, because you can't really do a 4-patch. Maybe a pinwheel block. There's a lot of different, even little diamonds. I may do pinwheel blocks, actually. I did press them towards the white side, the background, because you have this little spot right here. So you could also do pinwheel blocks, which I'm trying to think, I may do that. So I have some background. I even have some more, like I have this stuff right here. I have extra of all of this. So what I may do, I may cut, because I can cut these down too and make pinwheel blocks. But I'm trying to think of border, and I'm trying to think of what I'm going to use to go with it. But I may do pinwheel blocks. I like them. But you can cut these down to 2.5 inches, 2 to 2.5 inches, depending on how much you took off. I know a friend of mine, she had to cut hers down. She had to cut a 1/2 inch because of the way her strips were. They weren't as wide as they said. So instead of her strips being 6.5 or even 6.25, they were 6. Mine ended up being 6.25, and what I did is I just went ahead and sewed everything the way it was supposed to, and I trimmed all my blocks down to 12 even. Instead of 12.5 inch, I trimmed them all down to 12. So the pattern says 12.5. I couldn't get that because my strips weren't quite 2.5 inches, and I was wondering, I said, why aren't they coming out? Because when I cut them at 6.5. But then when I sewed it this way, like sewed the strips together, even with a scant 1/4 inch, they were coming out to like 6.25. So I'm like, well, they're not, something's not going on. So I went ahead and just did my 3.5 inch triangle. I went ahead and did all of that because this is only 1/4 inch off. I went ahead and did all that. I went ahead and sewed everything together, and my blocks up here were a little bit higher. So what I did is I tried to see, they weren't quite 12.5. And so I just went ahead, I had enough to trim down to about 12. I don't even want to say, they might have not even been 12.25. So I went ahead and just trimmed them all down to 12.5 inches. They might have been about 12.25. But I went ahead and trimmed them all down to 12 inches. And that made a perfect size for me. So, I mean, my quilt will be a little bit smaller than this, than the 48.5 square. But that's okay, because I'm going to add some borders. I'm going to add in, I'm trying to figure out how to add in all the pieces that I've used. I love this fabric. And I hated throwing all these away, so I started thinking a little bit ago, I was like, I'm going to dig these out and see what I can do with them. And so thankfully I was able to get, because I was like, even if I have a little 1-inch square or even 1.5 inch, I can do something with that. So I was able to at least get a 2.5 inch. So that's a decent size little half square triangle. I do have all of these. Not sure what I'll do with them, because some of them, because it said, now these two, they said you weren't going to use 2 of these. So I have an extra 2. So not sure what I'll do to incorporate that. And then I have all of these end pieces, as you see. And if anything, I could like maybe make a little 6 patch with these, like sew these down one side. I'll figure it out. But maybe I can sew these and cut them out to where I have like 6 patch. Right? Yeah. So I'll figure it out. So I want to be able to use these. I'm trying to think while I'm sitting here talking. If I sew down here, so if I sew down these sides and I cut, you know what? Let me do this while y'all are on camera. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna figure this out real quick. I'm gonna nest these seams up because I want to see something. I want to. Trying to figure out, because I don't want these to go to waste. And they're such a cute, I love this fabric. Let me stick another one of these in here real quick. Yeah, we're not doing school. We haven't done school yet today. We're going to, but later on today. My head right now is just killing me. Like I cannot sit and it just look at them words, read. I may put her onto some school stuff by herself. Okay. Now let me go along. Let's see, because if I cut it this way, and then let me see. I'm going to actually trim off. Where's my stitch line? There they are. I'm actually going to kind of trim this off just a little bit because it's got all the selvages. Okay, let me cut down this. Let me sew down this side. Like I said, I'm kind of playing around with this in my head while I'm on camera. So y'all get a sneak peek into my brain. I don't know if this would be considered a 6 patch, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Let me put one of these other triangles on here. But I was sitting there thinking, like, that kept bugging me, seeing how big of a piece of fabric this is. I'm like, there has to be something that I can use this with. I was like, you know what? Let me just stick one on my machine and do a scant 1/4 inch and see how well, like how big they are. Okay, so I sewed down both sides. The top and bottom are open, but the sides aren't. So let me see about this. How wide is this? This is going to be 4 3/4. What is 4 3/4 and 4 3/4? It's like what, 2 and, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's 2.5 and 2.5 is, oh. Let me see here. That's 2 2.25, and that's 2. So about 2 1/4 and 2. About 2 1/4. So we end up with something like this. I actually might do that. So we end up with 2 blocks like this. And you could actually cut the blocks in half, and if you wanted a bigger, like, you could sew 2 more together, or, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could do this, but I think that's what I may do with some of these others, because I have this one, part of this one, this is going to have, and I may still do it with this one, even though it has the little snowballed corners, I may still do it with these. But I have this, some of these aren't going to be as wide because I cut off, like these are going to be shorter, but I could always trim these down. But I have all of these, and I think that's it. So I have all of these left over from the ends of my strip sets. And what I'm thinking I may also do is I may go ahead and sew the rest of my strip sets. And because my strip sets, I have several strips left over. I have these strips left over, and what I may do is I may put these, how many do I have left? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll have 1 strip that won't be used. Which is okay. So I may make up 2 more long strip sets and then cut these up and then do what I just did to this. I may do that. And that way I have, so if I do that to this, yeah. So, but I think this will be a cool little thing to do, to add into the quilt, to do a border. Maybe do like my pinwheel blocks and do these. I'll figure out how many pinwheels I get, like how many little half square triangles, half little, half squares, half square triangles I get. That way I can figure out how many pinwheel blocks I get, and then how many of these I have. So I just want to let you know that if you're trying to think, because I was trying to think of what I could do with all of these, and it's just been kind of going this morning in my head. And I just love this fabric. Let's see if I do it this way. How wide is this? So this will be, is this like 6? No, wait. Yeah, because I cut them at 2, almost 2.5. So if I could cut that, I could trim this down. I'll figure it out, because some of these are like 3 of them are smaller than the others. So anyways, so that's what I was kind of thinking. Trying to use my scraps for this because it's not going to be as big as I want it. So that's what I was trying to think of, what I can do with my scraps, because you have quite a bit. I also need to do today, if my neck will let me, my designer mystery block of the month. I need to get that done. I haven't done it yet. I've got it cut. I've got my strawberry garden cut I need to sew. And this one right here is on my table, so this is kind of like what I'm thinking about right now. I also need to bind my Vintage Blossoms quilt. I was looking at quilt ladders, because I've got a couple of quilts that I have made that I like to display, and then I'll have, you can see it over here, that's my puppy dog laying in the floor. But this right here, my Vintage Blossoms, I need to get it bound, and that way I can display it too in my living room. So anyway, so that's kind of what I was thinking for the Jelly Roll Twirl quilt that I was doing Saturday. I don't know how many did it with me. I was going to try to do a live again yesterday, but live has other plans, so I didn't get to. But I did get my first 2 rows. Now I will say, I will show y'all this row. I think it was, no, it was this one. This one didn't match up perfectly. You can see kind of how, was it this one? Yeah, right here, it didn't really match up. But once it's quilted, you're not going to really know. But this is my first 2 rows. I only have 2 more rows to go. And so the quilt's not going to be as big as I wanted it. So that's why I'm thinking about doing, some kind of border around it. I'm trying not to order any fabric. I need to go in my yardage down here and see what I have that would match this, that I could use as border. The quilt's already kind of it's a little busy because of all the prints, and I love it. So I'm wondering how well these will look. If anything, I'll just make them, and then if they don't work out, I'll stick them in something else. So at least I'll have some little blocks made. So anyways, I guess I'm going to turn on my music and get over here and sew all these little triangle pieces, and I'm going to work on these and see what I need to do. If y'all want to see an update of that, let me know, and I'll shoot another quick video of everything that I have made. So hope you're all having a fantastic Monday. It's been raining. It looks like we could get some more rain, so I'm praying we do. We need it, and I know it's getting soaked up. It's like soaked up as fast as it can get. And the grass, it was brown. It's already looking a tad bit greener. So I'm excited about that. So anyways, y'all have a fantastic day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, y'all.